Hey, thanks for tuning in. This is Derek Sav. In this week's episode, I'm going to take you step by step through my warping process. First things first, press the warp button. I like to use Complex Pro, it sounds the most inconspicuous. The next step is to find the first obvious downbeat. Set a warp marker there. Right click and set 1. Then warp from here straight. Then I go back, I delete the original first warp marker that Ableton had set. From there, I like to warp about a 4-bar loop. I'll drag the beat to the beat grid. And the trick that I do to save time with modern music, that's usually pretty well quantized, is I use the keyboard shortcut Command up and double the loop's length. And I'll continue to double the loop's length until I notice the beats are drifting too far apart. Then I'll just stick to smaller loops and shift the loop forward by using the up and down arrows on the keyboard as a shortcut. But for this track, it seems pretty well quantized, so I just keep double the loop's length. Eventually, you might hit a spot where there's no beat. So what I do is I'll cut the loop in half, shift it over, cut the loop in half again, and find the next obvious beat at the end of the loop, and I'll warp to the beat grid there. I try not to use too many unnecessary warp markers. That way it keeps the natural feel and swing and groove to the track. Great thing about this approach is you can tighten up the loops as much as you want by making the loops smaller, and it adapts greatly to warping live recorded music. Just get it tighter there. Sometimes the warp, the transient markers aren't precise. By the time I get to the end of the track, I'll shut the loop off and then set the end marker so that the entire audio file is before the end marker. Then I'll move the start marker to the number 1 or wherever I want to start the track from. And what I do is before I finish up, I just go back and I'll add maybe a few more warp markers and make sure everything's really tight. When I'm warping, I like to do everything in halves and doubles. So if I don't have warp markers in between 2 warp markers for a long time and I notice that the beats are kind of drifting, I will go into the beat grid to the beat that's the exact center in between the 2 warp markers, and I'll tighten up that beat. And then I'll go in between the exact center of the other 2 warp markers and I'll tighten up that particular beat. So everything is halves and doubles. I don't do like the 4th beat of a bar. I don't tighten up that beat. I'll tighten up the 3rd beat of the bar and the 1st beat of the bar. Hey, thanks a lot for watching. One last word is sometimes it's just easier to use the snares to get you started. So if you're having difficulty finding the downbeat on a certain kick drum, especially if the song has a lot of rapid kick drums in succession right through the downbeat, sometimes it's easier to start off with the snares first, and then you'll definitely be able to figure out which kick in that succession of kicks is the actual downbeat. So just keep that in mind. And thanks again for watching. Subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for next week's show. Thanks a lot.